Hello, gents. In today's world of relationships, lots of guys aren't totally sure if they want to get serious with a modern woman. See, many guys are into the flashy looks of modern gals, but then there's this other kind of guy called a Sigma male. He's like the lone wolf type, independent, sharp, and doesn't just go along with the crowd. This Sigma dude, he sees through all the fake stuff. He's not about to deal with a modern woman's high-maintenance vibe or her acting like she's some kind of queen. There are loads of reasons why these Sigma guys steer clear of modern women, but let's hit you with the top 12. I implore you to watch until the end for a better understanding and perspective, and please show some love by liking and subscribing to Gents Grove. Thank you for your support. Let's get started. Number 1. They can fall for any man with money. Alright, here's the scoop. It's sadly pretty common for modern gals to fall head over heels for a guy just because he's loaded. They get all starry-eyed over his fat wallet and fancy presents, even if the dude's got zilch else going for him. But here's the thing. Sigma guys, they're not about that life. See, these women aren't picking partners based on feelings or connection. It's all about the cash. And for Sigma dudes, that's like a major red flag waving in their faces. It's like, if a woman's only into a guy for his bank balance, it says a lot about how she sees herself. Now, don't get me wrong. It's cool for anyone to want financial stability. But here's the deal. A lot of modern women are so caught up in chasing money that they forget about what really matters, like being emotionally grounded and sticking to their true beliefs. They're all about the material stuff, splurging on designer gear, or jetting off on lavish vacations. And for Sigma guys, that's not just annoying. It's a sign that the woman's got zero depth. Number 2, they are not emotionally mature. Let's talk about emotional maturity. Being emotionally grown up doesn't mean you never feel sad or vulnerable. It means you can handle those feelings in a healthy way, you know? But with all the pressures from society, it's something a lot of modern women struggle with. Sigma guys, they're after someone who's got their emotional game sorted. They want a partner who can ride the highs and lows of life without falling apart at every bump in the road. Sure, they're independent souls, but they crave deep emotional connections. If a gal can't handle her feelings like a grown-up, Sigma guys struggle to trust her with their own emotions. Now, don't get me wrong, not all modern women are emotionally immature. But for Sigma guys, finding someone who's emotionally stable and aware is key. See, Sigma guys tend to keep their feelings close to their chest, so they need a partner who won't take advantage of them or use their vulnerabilities against them. If a gal can show she's emotionally steady and tuned in, she might just catch the eye of a Sigma guy. Number 3. They have superficial high standards for men. Let's talk about standards. So, a lot of modern gals, they're all about having these sky-high expectations when it comes to finding Mr. Right. They're after the whole package, whether it's a fat wallet, model looks, or a top-notch education. It's like they're holding out for some kind of perfect partner, you know? But here's the thing about Sigma guys. They're not buying into that fantasy. They're all about keeping it real. They don't believe in this idea of finding some flawless human because, let's face it, perfection's a myth. Instead, they're into building relationships based on respect and understanding. Sure, it's cool to have standards, but expecting everything to be flawless, that's pushing it. Sigma guys ain't about being boxed in or feeling less because they don't fit someone else's idea of perfection. That's why they tend to steer clear of these modern gals and lean towards someone with more down-to-earth expectations. Number 4. They want to have complete say in whatever their partner does. Let's talk about being bossy. Some gals, they're all about trying to run the show, telling their partners what's what and what's not. But for Sigma guys, that's a major turnoff. They're not into being micromanaged. They want a partner who respects their space, lets them think for themselves, and make their own decisions. Relationships are all about mutual respect, not one person trying to control the other. Sigma dudes, they're not down for being constantly bossed around. It just gets them all riled up and frustrated. They'd much rather be with someone who trusts them to do their thing without breathing down their necks. When Sigma guys spot this kind of behavior, they're likely to take a step back or even call it quits. 'Cause let's face it, nobody wants to feel like they're constantly under someone else's thumb. Number 5. They don't get the idea of independence. Let's talk about independence. So, you've got these modern gals, right? Sometimes they lean a bit too much on men, be it for money or emotional support. They're quick to trade in their freedom for a sense of security, but for Sigma guys, that's just not their vibe. See, Sigma dudes dig chicks who've got their own thing going on. They're into women who are strong, resilient, and can handle life solo if need be. They're not about to commit to someone who's always looking for a crutch or a savior. Sigma guys want a partner who's sure of herself, who can tackle life's curveballs without constantly needing a helping hand. But unfortunately, this kind of independence often goes missing in these types of gals, and that makes it tough for Sigma guys to really take these relationships seriously. Sure, it's cool to have a partner who's got your back, but when modern gals depend too much on their partners, Sigma dudes just won't play ball. They're all about equality and self-sufficiency, not about being someone's safety net. Number 6, they are glued to their phones and social media. Let's chat about phone addiction. You know, those gals who are always glued to their screens, scrolling through Insta, Twitter, or Facebook? Well, for Sigma guys, that's a bit of a no-go. See, these Sigma dudes, they're all about living in the moment, valuing their privacy, and not needing constant validation from the online world. They're not the type to be checking their phones every 2 seconds, and if they see their partner more interested in their screen than in the relationship, they might start backing off. When you're really vibing with someone, you're supposed to be all about each other, right? But when one person's more into their online persona than the present moment, it can put a strain on things. Sure, it's cool if you're using social media to hustle and make a living, but when it becomes all-consuming, it's a bit much. Sigma guys aren't into that whole perfect online image thing either. They're more into someone who's real and present. So, if a gal's too wrapped up in her online life, Sigma dudes might just bounce and find someone who's more focused on the here and now. Number 7, they're too sensitive and overreact to small things. Let's talk about being sensitive. You know, some gals, they're like walking on eggshells, always ready to take offense at the slightest thing. And for Sigma guys, that's a bit of a deal breaker. See, Sigma dudes, they're all about honesty and openness in relationships. They don't want to be tiptoeing around, afraid of saying something wrong and setting off a whole drama. But when a gal's super sensitive, it's like walking through a minefield. It's tough for Sigma guys to feel like they can be themselves when they're worried about every little thing they say being taken the wrong way. They're looking for someone who's chill, who doesn't blow things out of proportion at the drop of a hat. When a gal's always on edge, ready to get hurt by the smallest comment, it makes it hard for Sigma guys to let their guard down. So, they might end up choosing partners who aren't as prone to the drama, someone who's more laid back and easygoing. Number 8, they stay in touch with ex-partners for much too long. Let's talk about staying friends with exes. You know, for Sigma guys, once they're done with a relationship, they're done. They're not into keeping tabs on their exes because, well, it's just not their style. See, Sigma dudes don't want to be caught up in the past, comparing themselves to some old flame, or feeling like they are not measuring up in their current relationship. If a gal's still hanging on to her exes, keeping them on standby just in case, that's a big no-go for Sigma guys. They're all about loyalty and trust, and if they sense even a hint of hesitation or doubt, they'll bounce. Sure, not every gal who stays in touch with her exes is doing it with bad intentions, but for Sigma guys, it's a red flag. They'd rather cut ties and move on than stick around in a relationship where they don't feel secure. So if a gal's still hanging on to her exes, Sigma guys won't hesitate to hit the road. Number 9. They have little gratitude for what they have and are constantly focused on what they lack or wish they had. Let's talk about gratitude. You know, some gals, they've got it all. A stable job, a comfy home, maybe even some fancy vacations. But for Sigma guys, if they're not showing appreciation for what they've got, it's a bit of a turnoff. See, Sigma dudes are all about living in the moment and being content with what they've got. They're not into being with someone who's always focused on what they lack or what they wish they had. It's like if you're not grateful for what's already in your life, how can you ever be truly happy? Sure, it's normal to have dreams and aspirations, but Sigma guys want someone who can also appreciate the here and now. They want a partner who can stop and smell the roses, you know? Because if a gal's always chasing after the next big thing, it's a sign to Sigma guys that she's not really their type. Number 10. Conversations with them tend to be empty. Let's chat about empty conversations. Picture this. You're with someone who's always chattering away, but it's like they're just making noise, not really saying anything meaningful. For Sigma guys, that's a total buzzkill. See, Sigma dudes, they're all about connecting on a deeper level. They're not into partners who just talk for the sake of it without adding any real substance to the convo. They want someone who's got some depth, some real ideas and thoughts to bring to the table. It's not about filling the air with words. It's about saying what you mean and meaning what you say, you know? Sigma guys aren't impressed by all that small talk that doesn't really go anywhere. They want someone who can think critically, who knows when to speak up and when to listen. So, if a gal can't hold a conversation that goes beyond surface level, chances are she won't catch a Sigma guy's interest. They're looking for someone who's got something to say and isn't afraid to say it. Number 11. They usually act like they deserve something. Let's talk about entitlement. You know, everyone deserves to be treated with respect and dignity. But when someone acts like the world owes them something, it's a major turnoff for Sigma guys. See, Sigma dudes aren't into people who walk around with this sense of entitlement, like they're owed something just for existing. It's not a good look, and it can lead to all sorts of misunderstandings and conflicts. Sigma guys, they admire folks who put in the work and stay humble about it. They're not impressed by someone who's always trying to call the shots or expecting special treatment. They value humility and gratitude, seeing it as a sign of real character. Sure, it's important to stand up for yourself, but Sigma guys want someone who can do it without expecting the world to bend over backwards for them. They'll be cautious around gals who are always looking for the easy way out or trying to get ahead at others' expense. In their eyes, humility and gratitude go a lot further than a sense of entitlement. Number 12. They care too much about how they look. Let's dive into this one. So, these modern gals, they're all about that Instagram life, you know? Constantly chasing that perfect selfie, keeping up with every beauty trend out there. But here's the kicker. They're often so fixated on their looks that they'll go to extremes like crash diets or even going under the knife without thinking about the toll it takes on their health. Now, for Sigma guys, that's not what floats their boat. They're more into how a woman makes them feel rather than just how she looks. I mean, sure, it's cool to take care of yourself and look presentable, but Sigma guys dig chicks who are confident in their own skin. They're not sweating the small stuff like conforming to society's beauty standards. What really gets under the skin of these Sigma dudes is when these gals are always nitpicking their own bodies. It's like, come on, own it, you know? And this obsession with physical appearance, it tends to seep into other areas of their lives too, which just doesn't sit right with Sigma guys. They're not about investing their time in someone whose goals don't run deeper than the surface. Please don't forget to subscribe. Stay safe, gents. Thanks for watching.